Hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody? How's your weekend been and all of that? Hope everybody's doing well. Kiki, you were waiting on me? You were waiting on me to talk about this pedophile they call R. Kelly. I'm feeling good. Just relax. It's actually raining out here in SoCal. So rain and me we have a spiritual connection. I feel real mellow, like I smoke weed when it rains. I don't know what that's about. I feel like I'm smoking something when it rains. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. What do y'all think about this R. Kelly thing? Let me ask. What's the general consensus here? Do you think he should be buried alive? What do you think? What do you think about the victims? The people who knew? What do you think? Hey Sierra, I want to know what y'all's thinking. Any thoughts? Anybody want to share? Did anyone see the documentary? I was in Vegas this weekend and I caught a little bit of it. I honestly didn't see the whole thing. Caught a little bit of it. Kiki says the victims are enabled by everyone around them and R. Kelly. So you think that the victims were coerced into being with R. Kelly? Is that what you're saying, Kiki? The real monkey says he's a very sick man and he needs therapy. The survivors need therapy. Okay. I feel they are acting like R. Kelly is the only pedophile. What about them women that helped? Okay, all right. Parents and relatives pimp their kids out to him. The whole industry, the whole industry is full of pedos. Yeah. Yeah, we have a whole not just the industry though. It's society in general. In general. I did a post. They were caught up in his fame and went along with what he wanted until it became too dark and abusive for them. Yeah, Pizzagate. How about that? Pizzagate? Pizzagate. So, like I said, I caught a little bit of it. Saw a little bit of, I think Wendy Williams had a few things to say. Big Les, which I was surprised. I'm like, where they dusted her off from? So she had a few things to say. A couple of people. I even read today that allegedly Foxy Brown said that Jay-Z took her virginity when she was 15. I don't know how true that is, and I'm like, really? So it's just like it's just every man in Hollywood is gonna be accused of something before this whole thing is over with. Before it's over with. Um, his wife, the crying that she did, I gotta be honest, it's like give her the Emmy, the Oscar, the Tony, I don't know, whatever awards they have, please. I think she deserves it. I think she deserves it. I mean, I think she put it on a little thick. Just a little bit of thick. She wasn't believable to me as this, innocent woman. I believe she was getting bags, she was getting checks, and some of the things she turned a blind eye to until maybe it got too much for her conscience, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But I think this whole documentary is money driven. I do think that. She made a video singing to his music. Who, his wife? The wife made a video singing to his music. Oh, well, I guess she's over it. That sounds like she's over it to me, huh? Kudos. This is what the shit I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Wow. The Pied Piper. He told us who he was, but we were so hypnotized by his musical genius that we didn't see it. Imagine that. Imagine that. So, yes, she was recently on IG talking about her baby daddy. Really? He told us when it was too late. Okay. Well, this got me to thinking about my own romantic history and the things that I was doing when I was 15 and 16, the things that I wanted to do when I was 15 and 16 years old and what I was exposed to. And I wrote a post, you know, about my experience in high school and how I fell in love. I guess this is a story time, right? How there was this guy that came to the school. But let me paint the picture here. In high school, I was the awkward girl. I was not considered attractive by any means. I was the girl that held everyone's coats. I would be the girl watching people's drinks, when they went and danced with the guys that asked them to dance and that sort of thing. I was the lump in high school. Very, very awkward. I didn't dress well. My parents didn't give me money for the fashionable clothes. My mother always said, listen, school is not a fashion show. I ain't sending you there for no fashion show, okay? So that was my mother's answer to me requesting, the shell top Adidas and the windbreakers and the Sergio Valente jeans, and I wanted the door knocker earrings and, the Shirling coats. Mom, could I get a Shirling coat? No. She said no. And so I looked really, really impoverished. I looked really homely going to school. Nothing matched. It was a mess. By the grace of God, I somehow mustered up a friendship. What I did to compensate for my lack of fashion sense was I was into hair, and eventually I became a hairstylist and a salon owner because of that. That was like my out. That was the one thing I could do to kind of mitigate and balance out the mess that I was in every other area was my hair. So my hair was always laid, perfectly coiffed. At one point, I was so obsessive about it being straight that I would get the relaxer and a toothbrush, and I would touch up my edges like on a weekly basis. Can you imagine that? A weekly basis, I get there touching up my hair with that creamy crack. Obsessive. Carried around this big mirror to look and see if any strand was out of place. Like I was just on it because I didn't have any way to be anybody besides that. So that was me. All my friends around me had boyfriends. One friend in particular whom I love to this day. I wonder about her. I haven't seen her in years, but her name was Tanya. She was a Jamaican American, short, perfectly shaped, very small waist, wide hips. Everything she wore looked awesome on her. Awesome. All the guys liked it. Even though she was dark skinned too. Her shape was so killer. I guess they overlooked that. My hip to waist ratio was about the same back then, It no longer is. I'm very much a woman now, but back then it was just like this. There was no hourglass going on. My kids gave me some hips. There was nothing going on there. I was a little knock-kneed, no real waistline, dark skin, and fucked up clothes. A mess, a mess. So, like I said, all my friends, it was easy for them to get guys to date them, ask them out. And Tanya in particular started dating one of the security guards at the school. And this security guard, now remember, we were like 15, 16. The security guard was like 32 years old. And she had a relationship with him. She liked him, he liked her, and they started seeing each other secretly. She would go to his house, he would pick her up. She'd cut school on his days off, and we'd all go over there and hang out and grill hot dogs and shit while she did whatever she did with this grown ass man. And we liked him too, because anytime we cut school, we could come sneak back in. He'd let us back in. If he was manning certain entrances in the school, he'll let us come back in and all that. He was cool, a cool older dude. And we didn't see anything wrong with it. She really, really liked him. And for a while there, she thought it was going to be something. 15 and 16. And this is typical for a lot of the girls in the school, in high school. A lot of them had older men coming to pick them up, older men that they were seeing. A lot of people, girls that were my personal friends, had older men. And I'm talking about 35, 20s, late 20s, early 30s. That was typical. That was typical. None of these girls felt like they were being coerced, that they were being raped or anything like that. They were grown. They felt validated by the attention and the things that they got. All of them got money and things from these older men. It seemed like the guys that were our age were broke, which they were. They didn't have money for McDonald's and and drinks, and a lot of the guys our age didn't have cars. So nobody was really wanting anybody their age. We wanted the older dudes who had the cars, who can afford to give us Big Macs, okay, and sneakers and leather bombers and all that stuff that the girls in my crew had gotten. Some of them got babies out the deal too, but that's another story. But we wanted the sophistication of being with older men. Now, for me, like I said, my relationship career in high school was a big zilch. Zilch. I was virgin and very mousy, very a little scary, a little bit scary. I was scared of everything, because I could hear my parents in my ear. Don't do that. Don't do that. You must be respectable out here. I could hear my parents hammering that into me. Good people. Grew up in a 2-parent home. Went to church. My mother was a housewife. A hot meal every day. She saw us off to school. Emotionally balanced, as they say, right? That would be the environment for creating an emotionally balanced child. I had all of that. And still no self-esteem. Still struggle with identity and self-esteem once I stepped out the door and became influenced by my peer group. And then there was one day I got out of school early and I was waiting for everybody to come out. And a couple of guys jumped out. They parked in front of the school and he jumped out the car. And there was this one guy. He got out last. And I looked at him and I was like, wow, he is handsome. He's gorgeous. That's what I was thinking in my mind. Like, he was tall. He looked buff. He had on Timberland boots and like this army fatigue jacket, like goose jacket, some sort of thing. It was like green. That's what I remember. I remember he had a beard, and I have a beard fetish till this day. Men without facial hair cannot talk to me. It's something weird about not men not having facial hair. I have a serious beard fetish. But back to that. So he had, all that facial hair and everything. His hair was like even low. He had little waves in it and stuff. And he was not light skinned, like caramel. And it was just love at first sight. I was like, wow, he looks good. And I guess I was staring, because eventually he turned around and he looked at me. And I turned away. I was like, oh shit. Oh my God. Did he catch me looking? Oh no, no, no. I hope he didn't catch me looking. So I turned away, and then I turned back. I inched like really slowly to look, and he was looking at me. And I started blushing. I couldn't contain myself then. I started blushing, and I just hung my head and had this stupid smirk on my face. Turned away, and I was getting ready to walk away. And he goes, where you going? And I looked like, oh shit. Is he talking to me? Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Is he talking to me? Oh my God, he's talking to me. Oh my God, oh my God. So I'm trying to be cool, because I'm getting ready to shit on myself for real. I feel like I got a diarrhea coming. My bowels were just loose. My bowels just got loose instantly. So I'm trying to clench my ass so I don't shit on myself right there, because a guy is actually talking to me. A guy that is the cutest guy I've ever seen, the cutest guy in the world to me, is talking to me. This ugly duckling. So I turned around and I smile, and I go, who? And he said, who? I'm talking to the girl that I'm looking at. And I started blushing again. I couldn't believe what was going on. I really was in shock. No guys talked to me. Really was in shock. So fast forward, we developed a relationship. He would come after school to pick me up, and he'd buy me a Big Mac. He'd buy me fries, which nobody ever bought me anything besides my parents before. So I was really impressed by that. And when I say that I was in love with him, it would be an understatement. In love would be an understatement. So I got, he was 27. He's 27, going on 28 at the time. Real grown, like a grown man. And I was like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do with this? I said, you can't come to my house. It's this ain't what we gonna do here. You can't, we're not gonna be able to do anything but what we do this after school. You come pick me up and buy me McDonald's. That's pretty much the extent of this thing, because there was no way that I could finagle any relationship with a man almost 30 years old. There's no way I could talk my parents into understanding any of that. They would have killed me. Period. But he was sweet to me. And it was weird, because he acknowledged me in public. He wasn't one of those guys that tried to hump me in the back in the bathroom or a dark hallway somewhere, who really tried to finagle my ass, which had happened before. Little boys get fresh with you, and they overstep their bounds, and they just try to touch you, feel on your tits and your ass, and they run away, that kind of thing. I mean, that's what I experienced before. But he publicly acknowledged me as the girl in his life, and I was just like, this has got to be heaven on earth. This has got to be heaven on earth. We dated for a while. He wanted to buy me things. I told him he couldn't. I said, because if, I wanted the shell top Adidas, he would have got it for me. He had money. He would have got me whatever I wanted. But it's like, how do I bring these articles of clothing home when I had no job? I had no way to explain how I paid for it. So that's the reason why, I couldn't get those little tickets that everybody else, all my other friends would sport. All I could get was money that I could hide, and free meals. But I was appreciative of that. So fast forward, we were dating for a while, and then it was something just wasn't right. He never made a move on me sexually. We hadn't had sex. Like I said, I was still a virgin at this time. We hadn't had sex. And I was just, at first I thought it was endearing. I thought he really cares about me, because he's not even pressuring me for sex. And, it was important for me to keep my virginity, because that was the one of the very few things that differentiated me from all my friends. That my virginity made me feel special. I felt like everybody around me was has-beens, used goods, so to speak. I thought that in my head privately, and I said, well, at least, I don't look as good as they do, and I can't get this or that, but at least I have my virginity. That was my thinking. So when he never asked, it was okay. And then after a while, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm too ugly. Maybe he's really not attracted to me. You start thinking crazy shit. When men don't want you for sex, you think you look like trash too. When they do ask you for sex, you think they're perverts. And when they don't, you think you look like shit. That's just how we do. Is that not the case? Is it not the case? You start questioning, like, do I not have sex appeal? So that's what I was questioning. So one day, we were at his apartment, and I said, no, I got to get to the bottom of this. And I asked him, I said, Corey, let me see your dick. He said, what? I said, pull down your pants. Let me see your dick. I don't know what gave me the balls to even ask that, because I'm so shy to begin with. But I needed to get some clarity on this. So I said, let me see your dick, Corey. I need to see it. He said, you must be trying to do something. I said, well, I don't know. Maybe, but I just want to see it. Just let me see it, damn it. Let me see it. So he pulls down his jeans. He had boxers on underneath. He pulls that down, and he shows me all of his glory. His dick was smaller than my 10-month-old brother's dick. His dick was as small as a was as small as a 6-month-old baby boy. So, at this time, right, I'm trying to contain my shock, my horror, my disappointment. I don't know what it was, but the bubble had burst. The milk went bad. The milk went fucking bad. The milk went sour. Sour and south. I said, wait a minute. Is this for real? I said, and I asked him, I said, does it get any bigger? Does it get a little bigger? Like, when you get hard, does it get, does it go from this to this? Like this to this? He looked at me like, I guess he was trying to brace himself for the ridicule, because I'm sure he must have heard this his entire life, his entire sexual career. He must have heard, man, your dick is small. But I was so in love with him that I didn't clown him. I didn't in me to do it because I was so wanting acceptance myself that I didn't have the temperament or the constitution to be abrasive and insensitive in any way. So when he was looking at me for waiting for me to react like, damn, what the hell is going on? I looked at him and I jumped into his arms and I kissed him. I kissed him and I gave him a hug. And as I was embracing him, I could hear him sigh. Like he took a sigh of relief. Because he was assuming that, it was going to be a painful experience after that. So we didn't have sex. Needless to say, we didn't. I think, and to be honest, I would have had sex with him if he wasn't so self-conscious about his penis. If he had a little more pride in what he had, I think I would have tried. I wanted to, because that's how much I was in love with him. I would have fell on a sword for him because of all he did for me and all that he made me feel. He made me feel like somebody for the first time. For the first time since I started school, since kindergarten, I had no issues with bullies. No issues with people ridiculing me and making me feel like shit in school because they knew that Corey was my dude. Corey was my man. Corey was my thug now. Corey was a thug now. He had a little dick, but he was a thug. Straight up. So when the word got out that, I was rolling with him, had no issues with anybody. For the first time I had peace going to school. I can understand, or with all that being said, I can understand what the pull is, what the draw is for a young girl, for a young woman to be with an older man. I'm using my story as an example of not victimhood, but more so accountability, because we have to be accountable. So fast forward now a little bit, and one day we're together for a while. We still haven't had sex, but one day, because I told him, I really told him I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait. I'm that girl that wanted to wait. I was a good girl. I really was. And he respected that. But come to find out, he wasn't pressuring me because there was some ex-girl lingering around, dipping in and out of the picture. Eventually, I heard about an ex that was still in the picture. And he told me one day when he picked me up from school that he had to go away for a while. I was like, go away for a while? Where you going? Can I come? He said, no, you can't come where I'm going. And I said, well, where you going? He said, well, I violated my parole. I said, parole? He said, yeah, and I got to go away. I said, like, go away as in jail? He said, yeah, jail. And I said, so does that mean it's over? He said, no, you my girl. You my wife. What are you talking about? No, it's not over. And I said, well, when do you have to go? And he said, tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? And that was the last day I saw Corey. I never saw him again. He called me a few times, and that was so that was so much anxiety around that. Trying to get him to synchronize the calls when my parents weren't around, because if my father picked up the phone and said, you have a collect call from such and such penitentiary from Rikers Island or something like that, oh my God, my head would be on a chopping block. So eventually the call stopped, and that was it. But I never saw him again. Never saw him again. So I'm saying all of this to say, I'm sharing with you my story of a young, naive girl with a man, a grown man, who was the first man who ever treated me like somebody, who showed appreciation for me when it was hard for me to get it from anybody else, who publicly acknowledged me not by clowning me, but by claiming me, who protected me when everybody else would throwing jabs, emotional jabs at me. He protected me. Had he not gone to jail, I believe we would have, something would have happened, so something, maybe we would have gotten married. Maybe we'd have had like five, 6 kids or something like that. I do believe I dodged a bullet, though, in spite of all the good things, the other stuff that I didn't know about, like the attempted murder charge. Yeah, it was that he said, I was defending myself. I didn't know how much of a thug I had, but there was attempted murder charges and stuff like that. He was selling drugs for money. He had told me he was doing dog fights for money, setting up bets and doing pit bull fighting for money, and come to find out it was drugs. So it was a lot of stuff that I naively just didn't know. He concealed it from me for my safety, but he still lied, as all men do. He still lied. What is the process that we as young women, and you ladies on this call, think back to when you were 16 and the things that you and your friends talked to each other about concerning boys and what you wanted to do with them, what you were willing and ready to do with them. And I want you to tell me if you were really would you classify yourself as a victim? Looking back on your own stuff, all the stuff you did at 16, would you classify yourself as a victim or willing participant? Because I could have told Corey, no, thank you. I could have. No, I'm not interested. But I wanted to experience it. I wanted the attention that he gave me. I wanted more of it. I wanted to see how far it could go. I wanted to see how far it could go. I felt sophisticated. I felt like a treasure. I felt better than the other girls in school. For the first time in my life, I felt better than other people. A little bit of conceit. I felt like I could compete with my other girlfriends now, that I wasn't the girl holding people's coats anymore. I upgraded from that level. I was no longer sub-level. I was no longer the mascot of the crew. I was now on everybody's level. We were even now. That felt good to me. Talk to me about your emotions, about your feelings. As I always say, we as women have a hard time being truthful about things, about our motivations and stuff. We are quick to claim victimhood and say that this person wasn't right and that person wasn't right, and and a lot of sisters will argue me like, you're saying that you're not condemning him for what he did, what R. Kelly did, and all of that. And I said, well, the post isn't about condemning him. Rape is rape. If those girls were not willing participants, then it's rape. Then it is. But if you're cutting school and lying to your parents to play groupie on the outside of a courthouse, then you're going there looking for something. You premeditated. You went through a series of actions to get where you were at. And then things got weird. Things got really weird and above the level of your expectations. And now, we're classifying the whole thing as a rape. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. If you are incapacitated and someone takes advantage of you, that's rape. If you are mentally disabled and someone has sex with you without you being able to formulate a consent or even or do or don't do, you can't talk, you don't know what's going on, that's a rape. You're 12 years old under the care of your mother and father, and you don't make any decisions for yourself about what to eat, how you dress, when you go to school, what neighborhood you live in. They drive you back and forth, and they take care of all of your needs because your whole existence is contingent upon the love, care, and supervision of people outside of yourself. Then you're not old enough to make the decision of, I want to have sex with this person. That's a rape. That's rape. Were any of those women virgins? I think not. I doubt it. I doubt it. Some of the girls were having sex with each other. They were having orgies and all that stuff too, as far as I'm hearing. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of choices that were made. A lot of choices that were made. So what I would want young women to understand here is that, listen, for me, as a woman, as a mother, I don't have sons. I have 2 daughters. So I know what I'm talking about here. And I talk to them real, black and white. I don't sugarcoat shit for them. I have a 12-year-old right now, and she's getting something that's real close to the conversation I'm having here. I edit a little bit, but she gets it raw too. Because I know what's going on in these schools. I know the conversations that are going on in these schools. And it's not daffodils and butterflies. That ended in elementary school. And a lot of times, even in elementary school, they're talking about sex now anyway. So we have to prepare them. We have to prepare them. And any of you, and you pass this on to the young ladies that you know, when you decide that you are not going to listen to the directives of your parents, you become an adult. I don't give a shit if you don't help with the mortgage, that you can't contribute to the food in the house, that you can't even pay your own cell phone bill. When you step out the door and decide what you're going to do with whomever you're going to do it with, against the directives and the wishes and the guidance of the people that birthed you, the parents that birthed you, you are a fucking adult at that. You defy what I say, then you become an adult. Sex makes you an adult. Let me say that again. When you have sex, I don't care if you're 15, 14, 16, if you've decided that that's what you want to do, and you're going behind my back and doing these things, then now we're woman to woman. Now I'm dealing with a woman. I'm not dealing with a being that I have control and dominion over anymore. Now you are thinking for yourself. Now you are thinking for yourself. Oh, these were children. It was children. Children where? Talk to me. Children where? Every girl that R. Kelly bagged was already sucking dick before he got a hold of them. Every one of them. Children where? My daughter's a child. She's really a child because I still have dominion over her. I tell her how to dress and that she has to eat her vegetables. I take her to school I tell her she has to get good grades and she listens to me. So it's an adult and child relationship we have together. If you don't have that with your daughter, if you allow her to do whatever it is she wants to do, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? This is real life here. This is real life. So what I'm not doing, and maybe I'm the only one that's not doing it. I'm not blaming victims. This is not a blame. This is accountability. Blaming is something different. You have to be accountable for what it is you agreed to. And unfortunately, like my own situation, we have what's called the need to be impressive to your peers. The need to be accepted by your peer group is extremely strong. And these are things, your parents, I really didn't talk to my parents about how I was being bullied and berated for my skin tone and my features in school. I kind of absorbed it. And I have two biological sisters, and we'll get together and talk because all of us are dark skinned. And we all look similar. I have gorgeous sisters, by the way. Gorgeous sisters. And we would talk amongst each other about our experience, but my parents were never really, unless it's something really, really upsetting and she caught one of us crying or something like that, then it would be an issue. But as far as sitting down and explaining to us the game of life, that wasn't told to us. The most that was said was, "Oh, they're just jealous of you. Don't pay it no mind. They're just jealous of you. Don't pay it any mind. It'll be all right. If somebody gets in your face, you kick their ass, and it'll be done." But it was no formulas laid out for how manipulation works and how people use their influence to get things from you. It wasn't anything like the things that I talk about here to you guys. It wasn't any of that. It just wasn't that kind of time, I guess. I don't know. Narcissism wasn't a word. I never heard about narcissism and all these behavioral disorders until later on in life. Then we started getting labels for these for the mental imbalances of people that before I guess we just thought were normal. So as a young adult, every decision you make is going to either hinder you or help you. It's going to cost you, or it's going to add to your bank account. It's just one or the other. And men, for the most part, will spin the truth. They will present themselves in a way that's favorable to what you need. Corey told me everything that I needed to hear. And I fell in love with him instantly. No sex involved. I fell in love with him instantly. And had he not had this hang up about his penis, we would have had sex. The only reason we didn't was because the man's penis was so small that it was something he had to deal with emotionally within himself. And he tried to compensate for his small penis by being a bad boy. He was a roughneck. So, we had a relationship. We both had, we connected because we were both misfits of society in a way. We were both misfits of society. And this is what it is. Men cannot give you self-esteem. Men cannot give you self-worth. Men are just men. Some like you, some don't. And you'll come to that conclusion. Maybe you need your heart broken a few more times to come to that conclusion. But it is so. And at 16, at 15, 16, now, if any of you were like me, I looked older than I was when I was younger. When I was 15, I could have passed for 20. 19, 20, a 20-year-old, 21, easily. I always looked, because I was bigger than everybody, more developed than everybody. So I could have easily fooled men, easily, very easily. I looked older. You think a lot of these girls don't capitalize off of their developed bodies, their prematurely developed bodies? Of course, because if a boy likes how you look, you feel good. All right, so I guess we could call a conclusion to this live, because I don't know, my phone is, or YouTube, it's messing up on me. They will give you a chance. Just don't give up. Many women out there, lonely as hell. Men getting caught up. That's why you must learn self-control. The younger generation is fearless. I wish they put energy into other places than drugs, sex, and music. Listen, the spell of the Leviathan, the serpent, is real. Our whole planet is vibrating on a sex force. Everything is fueled by sex. And you're asking young, impressionable minds to not succumb to it when they see adults. All the adults around them have succumbed to it anyway. So that's kind of hard to dictate without being an example. And without being a collective example at that. It's very, very hard to do. Very hard to do. But I guess in closing, what I want to say is, young women, your body is not to be bartered with. You don't bargain with it. You don't seek approval from men by giving your body to them. You are the prize. And at 16, you're every man's prize. At 16 years old, you're a woman that every man wants, no matter what age he is. Every man wants a young woman. Now, whether that's, right or wrong, and we're dealing with pedophilia and all of that is concerned, now we have to ask ourselves, okay, the age of consent is what? Because my grandmother got married at 16. She was already a married woman having babies at 16. There are some states, I think even on the books, it's legal, I believe, in some areas of the U.S. to get married at 16. So at one time, that age was considered adulthood. Now, the argument is, is a girl ready for all of that at 16? Is she ready to be married at 16? No. And she's also not ready for sex either, but she's doing that. And how many 16-year-olds have boyfriends? Let's say her boyfriend was the same age as her. If the argument is that she's too immature, that her mind is not fully developed to have a relationship with an older man, then her mind is not fully developed to have a relationship with any fucking man. no matter what age he is. If that logic goes for someone 15 years older than her, then it has to go for somebody that's the same age as her. Because a guy 16 is going to try to fuck her too. A 16-year-old and a 15-year-old boy is going to try to fuck her too. So if she's not mentally all there, she's a little bit retarded at 16, then she shouldn't be around any boys. And really she shouldn't. But how many of them do? How many of them do? Some are saying that, you know, the parents of a lot of these young ladies kind of sold them out. You know, pushed them into relationships with R. Kelly for a check. I think he even alluded to that in one of his songs or something like that. That, you know, he was used for a check. I think there's some truth to that too. These are minors. And we are clear about that. These are minors, technically. But these are also minors who are licking each other's asses, having orgies, cutting school to go get banged out by a superstar. And felt good about it until they got tied up and didn't have food for 5 days or whatever the scenario was. It was all right until things started getting weird. So they were minors, but they weren't acting like minors. That's the point. We have to have some distinction here. When you decide you are not listening, as I said before, to what your parents say, that you're going to go against the directives that they want for you, you are now emotionally in context a pseudo adult. You're making adult decisions. You're making adult decisions, and how can a parent protect you if you're going against them and making your own decisions? How am I supposed to protect you if you're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do? How does that work? And that's something that has to be discussed. That's something that has to be discussed. We live in you know, this is the Me Too movement time. It's a very sensitive time, and, you know, I'm not understanding why R. Kelly's documentary came out before Harvey Weinstein's. I don't know why Harvey Weinstein wasn't in jail before Bill Cosby. I don't know how these things are happening. But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of biases going on with that. You know, what's good for one is good for all. Let them all hang. All of them should hang. But the definitions have to be clear. And the terms and conditions have to also be clear. Listen, I'm a mother. And if my children listen to me, then they're under my protection. And if my children decide one day, we're not going to do what mommy says, we're going to do what we want to do, you forfeit the protection that I'm giving you. There's no way for me to protect you anymore. And it's as simple as that. You protect the fucking children that listen to you. Those are the ones that need your protection. The ones that are following your guidance are the ones that need your protection. These other tramps, you got to let them go. They're food for the gods. They're food for the gods. And I'm talking as a woman who also defied my parents. Because had it been any other situation, I could have been a statistic right there. Right there. Easily a statistic. We're living in a time where you have to tell these young women the truth. You cannot sugarcoat this thing. You can't sugarcoat this thing. I'm going to say it again. Men cannot give you self-esteem. Men cannot give you self-worth. Men cannot build you up. Oh God, I hate when y'all say that shit. Men are supposed to build us up. That's not men's responsibility to do. They're not designed to do that. to build you up, when they would take whatever you're offering for free and only give you a thank you for it? They're designed to build you up? How, Sway? How and where? How and where? Because then you're implying that men are selfless. That they only solicit you out of selflessness and charity. And we know that's not the truth. We know that's not the truth. They're looking for something. As I said before, at 16, you are every man's toy. Every man wants you at 16. And then when you reach 30, not so much, because by then, your body's starting to do some funky things. You can't eat a whole 3 slices of pizza like you used to when you were 16. Now you put on weight and you got edema in your leg, and all kind of health ailments start showing up when you're 30. Not to mention you probably have 1 or 2 kids by then too. So you're not as sexually marketable by then. But 16, shit. With nothing jiggling, everything in place, nothing falls on the floor when you take off your clothes. Shit. Who don't want that? Who don't want that? All men do. Even the men who are falling apart want that and expect that. How about that? How about that? You have to guard yourself. You have to guard yourself emotionally and physically. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what this whole thing is about. A lot of lives are being ruined on a daily basis. A lot of young women's lives are being ruined on a daily basis for our need to be validated by men. And this is not a feminist talk, because I am nobody's fucking feminist. I believe that men are supposed to run the household. I'm not trying to compete with him to sling mud or do anything a man does. Let's be clear about that. And don't let the cowgirl hat and the fact that I'm not showing my tits and ass to you make you think that I'm some kind of simpleton, that I'm trying to grow a goatee here behind this screen, because nothing can be further from the truth. I am all woman. I keep my shit, my magic contained under my hat. My magic is under my hat. Don't get it twisted. It's all female over here. But we as women, we have to have the round table, and we have to speak honestly about our experiences, so that these girls have enough cautionary tales to understand that, look, it's not a competition here. I'm not jealous of you because you're 16 and I'm not. I'm not trying to block you from experiencing things. It has nothing to do with any of that. It is me understanding what awaits you later on if you continue on this path. And I want to tell you, there's a crack in the road over there. You should go around it. There's a boulder over there. You might need to drive away from it. There's quicksand ahead of you. Stop the car. That's all. That's all. What is having wisdom if you can't pass it on to anybody? What is having it if you can't pass it on to anybody? I'm talking to you as a woman who felt demeaned and diminished and invisible. Most of my high school life, most of my young adult life, I felt invisible. I didn't see any representations of myself on the television. Yo MTV raps, and back then, when rap music, we used to watch the shows and stuff. There were no dark-skinned girls. I didn't see any representations of myself anywhere. So not only did I feel invisible in my own skin, in my own space, I felt invisible out there too. And when Corey came along, I was no longer invisible. That was my draw. And that's the draw of a lot of young women. You become somebody when a man loves you. So we think. We become somebody when a man shows affection and attention. So we think. If he wants to have sex with me, oh, I must be beautiful. I must be beautiful. Oh, I'm loved. I'm finally loved. Talk to me. That's how we get trapped. And this is why, and and the irony of all of this is that the same thing that traps these young girls is the same thing that traps us as adult women too. It's the same sauce. It's the same Kool-Aid we're drinking. Even as adult women, you get emotionally entangled in men. When does that end? Because that's not specific to age and naivety. That's not specific to being 16. There are grown women in their 50s and 60s still don't know how to judge if someone likes them or not. I talk to these women. They're grown women in their 30s like, well, I'm not really sure what to do. You've been around 35, almost 40 years, and you're still not sure how to judge what a good relationship is from a bad one? But it happens every day. It happens every day. The only reason any young girl will find her legs up in the air for a man who doesn't want her is because of vanity. That's it. This goes for 16-year-old girl, 30-year-old girl, retirees, whoever it is. It's because of vanity and the need to be wanted by a man. The propagation that our value is contingent upon how many and who wants to fuck you. This is what we're crying about. This is what the sister circles are crying about. Who don't love us and who said they love us but they were lying to us, and who we want to love us and who we can't get to love us, and how do I get him to love me? How do I get him to notice me? How do I get him to want to fuck me? How do I get him to think I'm beautiful? Vanity. That's all it is. I still to this day have other women coming to my channel telling me how unattractive I am. I'm not talking about what I'm saying. They're upset that an unattractive woman is saying what I'm saying. Well, what they deem an unattractive woman, I have no right to say what I'm saying because I'm not attractive enough to say what I'm saying. And these are young girls. And all I do is go, well, you're gonna meet your fate. You think you're so beautiful. You think you're better than me, but you're gonna meet your fate. Like we all do. Who has never had their heart broken? What woman, no matter what you look like, no matter what you're coming with, has not had your heart broken? Who? That's what this thing is. And we have to get real about it. Me said you're beautiful. Thank you. I think I'm beautiful too. I practice humility because it's necessary to it keeps me grounded. I don't get into I'm not seeking the complimentary things because it tends to get you out of your intellectual space. And if you want to remain reasonable and intellectual and to really see the intentions of people, you got to stay low to the ground. You got to stay grounded. A compliment should be a take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. You're not seeking it. It's nice to have if you get it, but ultimately it's a take it or leave it. This is what I'm trying to tell you as the underdog, bubble lip, mammy ass, nappy headed woman that people call me. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You have to have a take it or leave it, even if you are attractive. Because some of you say, well, I am pretty. I am. I can't relate to you, Salkis, because I don't look like you. I am pretty. Even you. Remain grounded, and you stand less. The percentage of usury goes like this. Goes down, 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 down. That's how we fight this thing. We give men back their emotional control, or the emotional manipulation that they use through vanity. You give the shit back to him. You give it back to him. What he thinks about the way you look is irrelevant. Irrelevant. You make it a take it or leave it. And that's how you get yourself centered and focused. Stay low to the ground. Don't try to float up in the sky. Don't float away on me. Don't let these dudes get you flying like, oh, I'm on cloud 9. You don't need to be on no cloud 9. You need to be in the dirt. You need to be crouching low to the ground. Stay on the ground around men. Stay on the ground around men. Talk to me. Talk to me. You have to stay on the ground, or you will be a statistic. You will. That's just how this thing goes. The ground and where the roots are. That's right. That's right. You want to stay where all the nutrients are. The nutrients is in the ground. The fruits that you see up top are the waste product of the trees, A fruit is a waste product of a tree. All the nutrients are underneath the ground. Every fruit you see is a waste product. Tastes good though, but it's waste. That's equivalent to the shit that we put in the toilet. Fruits and stuff. How about that? Stay low to the ground. Anytime you feel yourself starting to get unhinged and you're losing your firmness because you're getting caught up in his spell, pull yourself back down. I'm talking about mentally here. Pull yourself back down. Watch for the snakes, yes. You said pineapple is good? Pineapple, to me, burns. It doesn't burn you. I eat me a slice of pineapple. I feel like my tongue got set on fire or something. It's very acid. But to some people, it's good. Using that analogy, but fruits get shitted out. Roots are protected underground and keeps growing strong. That's right. That's right. That's right. Stay rooted. Stay rooted. Stay rooted. Stay rooted. So, in closing, I want to say that we have to be, as women, we have to hold ourselves accountable to what we're agreeing to. And this is not to let men off the hook in what they do, because they should be accountable. They are accountable to their actions too. But you have sovereignty over your body. He can offer you whatever the fuck he wants to. Right? All he can do is offer. Just like R. Kelly offered and they accept it, all any man can do is offer you. And you, in turn, have the power to say yes or no. I reject that offer. That offer is not sufficient for me. Let's come back again. Let's table that. You come back again with a better offer. That's what you have the power to do as a woman. That's what you have the power to do as a woman. So you have to have some accountability, because the yes happens when you say it. Nothing goes down until you say yes to it. So because nothing goes down, no sex is being had with you unless you say yes to it. Now, we're not talking about rape here. We're talking about you're getting into a situation, you're agreeing to it, you may not like it, it may not be perfect, the offer may not be something adequate for you, but you still say yes. I'm talking about that realm. And there's a lot of us in that realm. Taking offers, insufficient offers from insufficient men, but we feel because we're insufficient that we don't deserve anything other than what they're offering, that we should accept what the fuck they give us. That's a whole lot of us in that shit pile right there. A whole lot of us. From 16 to 75 in that group. From 16 to 75 are in that group. I used to think, and I did a video actually on this before, not too long ago too. Speaking about the different categories of rape. There's rape by deception, where you promise somebody something. You promise a girl that you get her something if she has sex with you, and then you fuck her and then don't give it to her. So there's that. There's rape by coercion. There's these different forms of it. And my thing with a lot of that is it comes down to you following your mind. Because I feel for a lot of us, we know when something is wrong. You're a woman. You may not be as data-driven, right-brain, statistical as men. But you do have instinct. You can sense things as a woman. That is our gift. That's the gift Mother Nature gave us, to be mothers and to be mothering to babies who can't speak, who can't tell you that something is hurting, but you feel it and you sense it, and you can communicate with a baby who cannot formulate words to talk to you to tell it anything, but you know what that baby needs. That is our instinct. That's our proclivities. That's our magic right there. You have instinct. And you negate that because the man calls you a fool for using your instinct. He'll say, well, I didn't say that to you. What makes you think that? You're overthinking things because I never said that to you. And he may not have said that to you, but it was implied, and something inside your gut said something is off here. Something ain't right here. Something is off. I can't put a black and white finger on it, but something is off. And men get away with shit because their thing is, well, I didn't actually do this. They'll tell you, I didn't do this. I didn't mean to do this. That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. But everything, the results of everything he's doing is the opposite of what he's saying. That's where we get fucked up. That's where we get fucked up. You must use your instincts. You gotta use your instincts. That's your gift. Mother Nature gifted you that. If you think back on all the relationships you've had, you felt something wrong. If you're honest, you felt something was wrong. And then here he comes That's all in your head. Isn't that what they say? You're overthinking and it's all in your head. Because I never actually did X, Y, Z. Isn't that what they say? All day long. Your instincts are your friend. You don't have to make final decisions with them. But you could take a pause if you're feeling uncomfortable. You have that right. You could say no when your panties are on the floor. Your legs could be up in the air and he could be getting ready to split you wide open. And you could say, wait a minute, I'm not ready. You could say it even then. Hopefully you'd say it before that. It would be ideal you say it when your clothes are still on. But I know a lot of women who've gone along and right before the event happened, right before that thing went in, she was like, man, I don't really want to do this. But she was afraid. She was afraid of his reaction. She was afraid, you women are afraid of disappointing men. You're so afraid of not being liked by men and what men think of you. You don't want him to think badly of you. You don't want him to think you're a fool and all of these things. So you comply, even when you know it's wrong. Talk to me. Come on now. Come on now. Call a duck if it quacks. Call a duck if it quacks. Right? That's what this thing is about. That's what this thing is about. You have to guard your mind. You have to talk to your daughters. And you tell them that their beauty is not their crutch. Not to be slaves to it, but use it as a tool. I'm always saying that. I'm not saying you disregard your appearance and you stop perming your hair, whatever it is you want to do. You know, I choose my representation because this is what I do. But whatever it is you do to make yourself presentable and to make yourself feel good, you should continue to do. But being a slave to it is our problem. Once it crosses over from being a tool to being something that you need for a certain reaction, to know if you're a good person, to evaluate the sum total of your value, then that's something else. Then we're dealing with pathologies here, and we're dealing with situations where you're going to get yourself in trouble, where you're going to get yourself used and in trouble. Because the man that comes along and tells you, you're the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, you're going to believe it. You're going to know, the thing is, you know it's not true, but you'll believe it anyway. Because you need to hear it. You need to feel value. And you don't want to be invisible anymore. You want to be wanted. You want the power of being wanted. There's power in being wanted. Because when you're wanted, men do what you ask them to do. I understand that. I understand that. But you know how that ends most of the time? When he digs in your ass, when he gets all that Gouda, sucks all that Gouda cheese out your vagina, when he flips you over, does your doggy style, and puts that trance on you, all of that shit goes out the toilet. All your I'm worthy and all that stuff goes out the toilet, and you become his emotional slave. You become his emotional slave. That's what happens when you have sex with men who say you're beautiful and stuff. You become his slave. He becomes a habit in your life, like a drug, just like a drug. And you need your fix. If he hasn't called you today, oh my God, he hasn't called me. Oh my God, oh my God, I'm not beautiful. He hasn't called me today. Oh my God, I'm ugly again. I must look like shit now. He hasn't called me in 2 days. You become neurotic. When you decide that you are worthy and you are beautiful and you're somebody, regardless, you're going to be in a better space to emotionally handle the ups and downs of a relationship, all the games that happen in a relationship. We can go back and forth about what men are supposed to do, about the fact that the R. Kellys of this world should not take advantage of young women. But there are men taking advantage of women of all ages. All ages. Not just young women. This would be a real argument if it was just pubescent teens, pubescent women being taken advantage of. But women of all ages are emotionally manipulated. All ages. And that has to be addressed. We have to come to some conclusions about why that is. About our thinking process from the moment we meet a man to the moment our legs are up in the air and he's sucking the shit out our asses. What is our thinking process from the first meeting to the first fuck? What are we requiring? What are we hearing? What are we experiencing? How do we feel about ourselves and him? And you're probably thinking the same thing a 16-year-old girl does. You're probably thinking the same thing a 16-year-old girl does. Oh, he likes me. He calls me all the time. He likes me. He bought me lunch. He paid for gas. He paid my phone bill. He likes me. That's what it is. Yes, Stephanie, this is a blue pill. Ricky said was 13. He was 35. Who are you talking about? Who are we talking about? Listen, like I said, I have daughters. My daughters never did sleepovers in strange people's houses. You know, we were for the most part together all of the time. Now my little girl, my 12-year-old, is a lot more savvy, a lot more intellectual than my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is so sweet. Not to say my youngest one isn't, but I have to talk to her on a grown-up level because she has understandings of things that I didn't have when I was 12. She has a broad understanding of things. So I'm aware of her personality and what I need to have her know. And the things that I need to have her know are happening a lot earlier than with my eldest daughter. A lot earlier than that. There's two different personalities there. So you ladies who are moms, you observe your children's personalities. What they're interested in. What do your girls get excited about? My 12-year-old loves to see romantic stuff on TV. The kids shows, if she sees a young a boy and girl liking each other, she gets all giddy over it. She likes that stuff. So I have to be mindful of this, and I have to start talking to her from 12 years old, from now, to prep her for what the world is out here and what's going on out here. You have to tell them the truth. You have to tell them the truth. Some will listen and some won't. A lot of girls will be food for the gods, as they say. They will become statistics. And some won't. So it's a chance that you take, but you don't bend. You don't bend, you don't buckle, you don't compromise your beliefs. You remain consistent. Even if it's inconvenient for you, and definitely if it's inconvenient for them, you remain consistent in your rules and your regulations and your expectations. There is nothing that diminishes respect of a parent quicker than inconsistency. If a young girl can talk you out of what you're against, you'll never get her respect again. You won't. You won't. So that's what this thing is. It's an internal and an external thing. Because even, like I said, I'm from a 2-parent home. And I still was this, when I got out in the street, I was all right at home. I felt loved, I felt secure, I felt safe, everything was all right. But when I stepped outside the door and saw what other girls were doing and how they were being treated, and the fact that I was the only one that didn't experience that, I felt like an outcast. I felt like an outcast. And you want to know something too? When I was recalling high school, there was this guy that liked me the whole time, all the years in high school, and I didn't like him because he was corny. He was one of the nerds. Just a corny dude, you know. He wasn't bad looking. His name was Hassan, right? I think his parents were Muslim, but he didn't wear the garb or anything like that. But he was just, he came to school sometimes, you know, the jeans, he didn't have nothing fresh. He was just like me, poor. And I was not attracted to him because I was like, damn, you about as poor as me. Your hair don't be cut. You know, he didn't have no fresh haircut. You know, he had these pair of Lee jeans, these white Lee jeans that was all dinged up and stuff. I'm like, you don't look put together at all. But he was always making A's in every class that we were in. He was honor roll, you know. Joined the band in high school. And he was in love with me. And I had no respect for him. Just none whatsoever. And I remember, you know, I didn't go to my high school graduation. And I don't even know why I didn't go. Why didn't I go? I didn't go. And he was devastated because he had been practicing this song that he was going to play when I walked across the stage. He had been practicing the whole year. This special song just when I got up on the stage, and when I didn't show up, he was like, what the hell? Where's my girl at? And I remember years later seeing him at a salon that I was working in, and his wife came in to get her hair done. His wife. She was a doctor, and he was a doctor in the military. I felt like shit. To see what he became and what maybe could have been for me, because he was so crazy about me, and to see how they interacted with each other and how proud of her he was. And you know, we talked, and he looked at me like, yeah, you know, at one time it was you, but you know, I've moved on to better things. I've moved on to better things. Because here I am, a hairstylist, and he married a doctor, and they both making doctor money. And I was like, wow, I missed out on that. I misjudged that. That was the one that, he was the one that got away. And he wasn't bad looking. It was just, he was just, I remember one time he came, listen, he was this poor. One time he came to school And you know, back in the days, they had the roller skates, the boot part. He took the wheels off the roller skates and wore the boot part to school as a shoe. Listen, I couldn't do it. I didn't have pride, but I had a little pride. I couldn't be seen with that. A roller skate boot as a shoe. Come on now. But I messed up. And he was crazy about my little raggedy ass. And I wouldn't give him a shot. This is what life does, though. You know, you make foolhardy decisions. Then I met Corey, got crazy over him, and his ass went to jail on me. When I should have rocked with dude, because he would have married me. He would have took great care of me. He would have made sure I was straight. He had nothing to give me but friendship and respect. How you doing? You need help? I can help you study for the math test. I could give you the answers. You know, he would give me answers to tests and all. He just, whatever I wanted, whatever he could give me, he would. Sometimes he'd share his lunch with me. We had ravioli at lunch. Like, you know, he knew I like ravioli, so he's like, here, you know, you can have my ravioli. And that's how it was. Life is something, isn't it? It's something. Every decision you make just alters the course of your life. It can alter your whole entire life and make things harder than they need to be. And this is what you have to tell the 16-year-old girls. That every decision you make is going to shape the course of your existence. Yes, Plum, ravioli, man. You know, that beef ravioli, I was a sucker for the beef ravioli. That and pizza, shit. I was a pig back in the days. And he didn't mind. And I knew he wasn't getting too much food. You know how some kids that you go to school with, the lunch that they get, you know, the breakfast, the lunch and stuff is what they get when they go to school because their parents don't have any money for lunch and stuff. There's a lot of kids, like the only time they eat is during the school year. I believe he was one of them. And he still gave me his food. Still. And he came into that salon with his military uniform. Shit. I was like, God damn, I fucked up. And his wife was pretty too, which made it even worse. I'm like, damn. I messed up. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So, you know, I guess I've reached the end of this story time. And my little R. Kelly tale and my take on all of that, you know. Again, I want to say that no woman deserves to be mistreated and abused. No woman deserves that. And we have to act like we don't deserve that. That's the next part. We don't deserve it. And we also have to act like we don't deserve it. We have to always be accountable. If you're 15 or 16 and you're doing things behind your parents' back, you have now become an adult. An adult who can't pay your own rent. But for all intents and purposes, you are now an adult. Because you're not under the supervision. You're not taking the supervision and guidance of the people who care about you. There's a penalty for that. There's a penalty and a price to pay for that. That's what it is. So, did he look good? He looked hella good. He looked like money. He not only looked good, he looked like money when I saw him. He looked like money, a new penny when I saw him. I was like, damn. I messed up. Such is life. Such is life. Such is life. So if you guys don't have any questions, I guess we can. You said, "Damn, you feel my pain." I mean, it's not pain anymore. I'm. This is just stories that I'm sharing. Cautionary tales for you to pass along to the young ladies in your life. You know, this year I want to do some outreach stuff and focus a lot of my energy, or more of my energy, on young girls, like in the teen girls, teen moms and all of that. Focus some energy on that. Because we walking around here, a lot of us wounded. A lot of us claiming we learned lessons and we're repeating them again and again. You know? And a lot of ladies, young and old, need some mothering and need some help, some guidance, another ear, a discerning ear to help them navigate through decisions. And that's what I'm here to do as a mentor. This is what I do for a living as a mentor. I'm an artist and a mentor, a relationship expert. That's what I am. So if you want to know what to do, what not to do, I'm the one you call, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. If you want to hear something you want to hear, you do not call me. You do not contact me, because it's going to bite you. What I'm going to say to you is going to be bitter for the most part. More likely than not. When you're ready for the bitter, that's when you call me. That's when you call me. My website is iloveherart.com. I'm an artist too. You can book private sessions with me via the website. You can email me also if you have questions that you don't want to ask publicly here. You can also email me at Salkis, Salkis, at iloveherart.com. I have new art pieces that I just completed, like 4 pieces on my site. It's a black and white series that I'm working on. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Go get a print. Go get a print. If you can't afford an original, not ready to do that right now, get a print. My prints are canvas. They're high quality. You won't know the difference between them and an original. They last up to 200 years. I don't sell trash by any means. No way. So go check that out. Subscribe to the site too. You can subscribe to it too. That would be my suggestion. So, you in for a lot of hell, Salkis? Hell? What hell do you mean? A lot of hell, how? Should I be afraid? What should I be afraid of? What should I be afraid of? Did I do a past stream on age gap relationships, women in 30s and older dating much younger men? I've never done a video on that. I mean, what I have to say about that is that, as with anything, if you're a single mother, you have to be careful. If you're an older woman, you have to be careful. If you're an unattractive woman, you have to be careful. You know, a lot of us, even your pretty ones, have to be careful too, because your ego gets away with you also. So a woman dating a younger man, you know, it could work. It could. All of those relationships that I've seen, though, the woman is extremely neurotic and insecure and extremely controlling of the man. Every relationship I've seen where the woman is older and the man is younger, she usually the shit out of him. And she's very uncomfortable and very insecure around being around any woman that's might be his age. Let's say. Very insecure and uncomfortable. So I don't hardly see, this is my experience, I don't see them as happy relationships. I see them as relationships based on control. A lot of control dynamics going on there. Usually the guy is looking for a place to stay, and she's paying his bills. She has a dick she's paying for, and a nice hard dick that she's paying bills for, and all is well. All is well. But as far as happiness, a happy relationship in that dynamic, no. I really think the ideal is always to have a man that's older than you. I think that's better to have him be older than you than you be older than him, because ageism is a thing here in our society, and women who are older are not valued. They're not considered valuable. So those relationships always seem temporary to me. It's never long term. That's just me. You have to be careful if you so-called ugly. What do you mean on that comment? Just what I said. Just what I said. If you are unattractive, you have to be careful and understand and know. You want to know what the intentions of the person that's vying for your attention. You want to know what their intentions are. You want to know what their intentions are. There are, are we going to be honest or dishonest here? I've said before that I'm considered unattractive, right? I've been treated like I'm an unattractive woman before. I've experienced this. I've been treated like a charity case before, as a something to do until the next girl comes along. I know what that's like. I know what that's like. And I thought it was my charge to win his heart, win him over by being good and doing whatever he asks me to do, and giving him money and all that stuff that we do. So you got to rate yourself, and you rate yourself based on how you feel and who you're able to pull in, and you know how you rank. You know how you rank. But that takes honesty. And a lot of women won't say they're unattractive. You can't get a woman to admit that ever. I have no problem saying that I am unattractive. I look more like a man than I do a woman. I look more masculine than I do feminine. I look just like my dad. Just like my dad. But does that mean that I'm not feminine? No, I'm very feminine. I'm as effeminate as they come, I feel. But I do have a masculine edge to me. And that's just, self-evaluation. Self-evaluation. I'm very sexy. Very sexy. But, like I said, I keep my magic under my hat. So you have to scrutinize. Like, okay, what do you want? Because I know, I know what I'm working here with. What do you want from me? That's what you have to be asking. That's what you have to be asking. No, I'm talking about to person on the chat. Oh, okay. You talking to somebody else? All right. Cougar Life they say it works sexually because men are in their prime and women are in their primes. I don't know about that prime stuff. I think any woman will be in her prime if she's with a man who knows what he's doing. She can be in her prime at any age if he's hitting the right corners. I don't know about that prime stuff. I'm not. The jury's still out on that to me. You're not unattractive, Salkis. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When you get to a point where, listen, I'm grounded. I stay grounded, so it doesn't matter. Either way, I know anybody that comes into my space wants me for a reason. I'm not assuming that they're going to treat me well. They want something, and they want to know how much it's going to cost to get that something from me. And the cost would be based on my convictions, my values, my expectations, how I feel about myself. So then the component of getting to know me is needed, because then in the getting to know me, they'll see the flaws and, my fallibilities and all my weaknesses, and then they can renegotiate and say, well, you're not really as all that as you said you were. So I'm going to offer you this. That's what the getting to know process is. I want to know everything there is to know about you, because we're going to have to renegotiate this. I know you're saying you're worth XYZ, but you're flawed. You got the stretch marks there that I didn't see before. You're really not in shape, or you really don't do this, or maybe you don't clean your house, whatever it is. So let's renegotiate. I'm not giving you $200. You're going to take this 50. You're going to take this 50 because that's really all you're worth. That's what the getting to know process does. It depletes your value. You can pretend high value until a man gets to know you, and then it's like, oh, she ain't shit. Go on and get that snack. You ain't nothing. Some men like big women. Men like all types of women. Men like all types of women. Some men like, disabled women. People have fetishes for different things. So, you could be missing an eye. There's, men like women who missing limbs, and there's all kinds of things for all kinds of people. All kinds of people. And that's what it is. If you have one eye, one leg, there's someone that will like that. Sure. But what are the averages that someone would like that? What are the chances? What kind of odds are you facing there with that? That's what you have to say. I could say that, the odds are that I'm going to get XYZ is about 40%. That's not too great. I'm only working with 40%. I gotta do something to, up my odds. Hey, Moonlight. Happy New Year. She says she's tripping about her weight. Who's tripping about their weight? Who's tripping about their weight? Freak me out is the ones who like feet. The ones who like feet freak you out? Yeah, well, you can't have a foot fetish around me. I'm a size 12. Like bear paws. My feet are like bear paws. So if you like feet, I can't help you with that. I've had men ask me, I have a foot fetish. I'm like, well, we could end this conversation right now. There is nothing that I can do for you if you have a thing for feet. Sometimes you gotta just cut the chase. You gotta be honest. You can't waste no time. If you got Flintstone feet, and a man has a foot fetish, why would you do that? Because there's nothing you can do. You can't, you can't shorten your toes. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do with that. He's gonna find out that your feet look like Fred Flintstone feet, and then the relationship's gonna be over. There's no point in it. Get one dinner out of it. Let him know over dinner. Listen, I got Barney Rubble and Flintstone feet. I remember saying that to a guy, and he stopped the conversation cold. And he talked about, I love me some feet. When I described what my feet look like, I heard a long pause, and he said maybe one or two sentences after that, and then he said I had to go. So he got off the phone quick. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I guess I'm done, you guys. Please discuss the recent incident with the black girl at McDonald's who was attacked by the white man. It's sad because it was mostly black men bashing her. Some of the comments were very nasty. I saw the footage, and in analyzing the footage, And I watched it in silence. Sometimes I do that. I like to watch things without the volume so I can really concentrate on what I'm looking at. And all of the men in the video looked afraid. They looked afraid. Their body language was like they're like frozen, like they were intimidated and afraid. The girl at McDonald's, the guy reached over the counter and grabbed her uniform, grabbed her by the neck of her uniform, and started like pulling, like, I don't know, you trying to pull her over the counter or what? But she started pummeling him. She started beating him and defending herself. And one of her co-workers, which was a guy, started pulling her back. Instead of pulling the guy who actually assaulted her first, he pulls her back. All the guys were behind the counter for the majority of the time. Then one of them comes around and he kind of, politely pulls him away. But it wasn't forcibly. It was no statement being made in it. It was kind of after she got her licks in. She got a few punches and, she wound up his head a little bit before the guy had the nerve to come around the corner and just kind of gently pulled him off her. The manager looked scared too. He looked scared and nervous. The instinct to defend her was not there with any of the gentlemen there, like with none of them. The instinct to jump in and grab this man did not happen. Not any of them grabbed the man. None. And I said before, as some people are arguing that, this is, black women just don't get protection from black men. That's the spin that people are taking on it. That black women are alone and unprotected, and black men don't love us, don't show us love, no respect, no whatever. And what do I say to that? The video represents that. I know it's not true, but looking at the video, it represents a problem that's going on in our society where men are being effeminized. You know how many YouTube videos are out there of girls fighting each other, and the men standing around, waiting for a girl's boob to fall out of bra or for a backside to be exposed. They're laughing and giggling and like it's entertainment to see two women fighting. So the instinct to defend and to do the manly thing is just not there in men in general these days, I find. Not just black men, but just men in general. I said before, many lives ago, many videos ago, before I even started doing this car talk. I think this is car talk episode 21, I believe. Even before I started doing that, I said there is no revolution that's going to happen here. I said it. There's no revolution that's going to happen. And you know this because you can't even get help with your grocery bags to your fucking front door. A man will see you struggling with your grocery bags, and he won't stop what he's doing to help you put your grocery bags at your front door. What do men do? They move out your way. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me let you pass. And you got 5 bags in your hand. Okay, you got it. Go. All right. The most they do is move out your way. None of them will say, "Ma'am, do you need help? Can I help you? Can I help you to the door?" And a simple act like that is not taking place, and we think there's going to be a revolution. Talk to me. Where? Simple decency. Simple manly shit. Simple acts of kindness, humanity. I'm a man. I'm not going to see a woman struggling with bags to the door. I'm not going to do that. Not on my watch. Men don't have the instinct for that. They get out your way. You got to do you, I got to do me. This is the mentality of men. And the sad part about it is that these young men are probably the same ones that go on these videos and clown women for wearing wigs and weaves and, black women so ghetto and she a baby mama and she this and that. And when it comes time to put your dukes up, when it comes time to brawl, when it comes time to dust somebody off, warm somebody ribs up, let them know what it is, let them know how it's not going down, you standing around with a spatula in your hand, with fries in your hand, like, oh, I don't know what to do. What should I do? That's your instinct? Oh, I'm not getting involved. That's your instinct as a man? So we have a problem here. I wouldn't say it's a disregard for black women. We have a gender issue going on here, where the propaganda is masculinity is toxic. That's what we're being told by feminism, that masculinity is toxic. So this is the residue. This is the runoff from the sludge. This is the miasma that our society is being infected with due to us foregoing roles of gender. Now men don't have to defend you because you're a strong woman. You can take care of yourself. Why do I have to defend you if you can take care of yourself? Talk to me. This is what we've given up for this thing called independence. For this thing called I don't need a man shit. We've given up the instinct that men have to have for the damsel that's in distress. She wasn't a damsel. She was like a man. That's why I didn't help her. That's why they didn't protect her. She was like a man and they're like women. That's how things are going. Our men are angry because black women say the man and the woman. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Last time a man offered to carry my trash bags to the dumpster, he was a white man. Black men pass me by and never offer. How about that? How about that? Imagine that. And I have stories like that too. I've had a flat tire on a highway and watch my people zooming by and white people stop to help me. White man stop to help me. I've had that too. And you wonder what's that about? What's that about? We have a sickness going on, We have a sickness going on. Hey, Empress. Rosemary asks, do men have vanity too? Oh yeah, nowadays, more so now than ever before. The metrosexual is entrenched now. Men have vanity issues too. Of course they do. They surely do. We need to start acting like women and we will be treated accordingly. That's what I'm saying. You better put on your damsel in distress. My mother always said, listen, even when you in need, you need. In her Trini voice. Even when you in need, you in need. Meaning, always act like you need, even if you're independent. Because that's being a woman. That's being a woman. So we have to get back to that. We have to get back to that. Independent what? I don't want nobody calling me independent what? What does that mean? That's not even in my vocabulary. That's not in my language. I don't understand what that means. Strong black woman. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Who? I'm that? No, I don't think so. You got the wrong person. I don't want to be tagged with any of those labels because I want to be protected and cherished and loved and provided for. I want you to feel like you got to defend me when we're out on the street, just like Corey did. When I was out in the street with Corey, the love of my high school life, he made sure, he was always 1 foot in front of me so that nobody would bump into me if we were, walking in the mall or doing something, going in the crowd. He was always on post with me. Always on post with me. He was always guarding me when we were out in the street. Always. He didn't have me walking on the outside of him, we equals. No. He made sure that I was claimed. He made sure that everyone knew that I was him and he was protecting me. That's how we rolled. That's how we rolled. Equal? How? We're not. We're not. We got some work to do. Come back together. We don't have work to do. We just have decisions to make. We just have decisions to make. All this is about decision on how you're going to present yourself in this life. How you're going to show up in this life is not work. It's just a decision. That's it. That's it. I'm going to decide to be this way. And I'm not veering off of this. This is how I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to be. I'm the damsel. When I'm at work, I'm efficient because I need my job or whatever. I do my efficient thing for that. But I'm a damsel with my man. I'm not his equal. You don't never want to be a man's equal. Because then you'll be just like that girl at McDonald's who had to drag that man over the counter by herself with no assistance. She was clapping her hands like, I wish you would, and, son, la, 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 just like a dude afterwards. So I can only imagine what the conversations were that she had, the interactions that she had with the guys before this happened was probably aggressive and abrasive, and she didn't present herself as a damsel. I'm sure she didn't. That's the other part of it. So while we can say they're weak, the men were weak, which they actually were, she didn't present herself as feminine either. So there's that part of it. There's that part of it. A lot of women have issues showing femininity because they feel it's synonymous with weakness. And they don't want to feel or present themselves as vulnerable. They have a need not to seem dependent on anybody. And what you're seeing now is a result of that. We don't have men who want to be soldiers for us. We don't have men who feel instinctively that we need to be defended. That's what it is. You enjoyed when she punched him? I enjoyed it too. I was like, damn, she got to get a hold of that shirt a little tighter. She missed a few. I wanted her to just right there in the center. I wanted her to cave in his nose. I wanted her to do that. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to get a few more in. She was. She was. So this is the time we're living in, ladies. And to end this live, what I want to say is become a damsel. Become a damsel as much as you can. In whatever way you can do it. Embrace your femininity so that your interactions are gentle with men. Like men handle you gently, because you're a delicate flower. Because you're a delicate flower. You like my artwork, Miss? Miss, what's it? Miss Me? Oh, you went to the website. Thank you. Please pick up something. I have prints on there. Pick you up something nice. Let me tell you something. You will love my work. You will love my work. High quality. You act loving to some men and they take advantage of you in a bad way. Listen to me. Like beauty is a tool, the temperament, your disposition that you display is so that the response that you get is in line with what you want to receive. You're doing it for an outcome. You're not doing it because you're vulnerable. Anything you do by choice is not a vulnerability. A vulnerability is something you have no control over. If you're doing something because you've designed it that way, then you're still in control of its components. No man can take advantage of you unless you forgot that you're acting. Unless you forgot your agenda. Unless you forgot why you're doing it. That's how this thing goes. But if you're doing this so he can react and respond and reciprocate something to you, then you're good. But if you get into that mode and you forget, yeah, you're gonna get taken advantage of. Because you forgot the purpose. Don't ever forget your purpose. And everything you do has a purpose. And there's an outcome that you're going for. There's a measure of success that you're looking for. The only way you're being used is that you don't have a barometer of success. You don't know what your outcome is supposed to be. Or you're not fixated on an actual result. It becomes a whatever he wants midstream instead of the outcome that you're looking for. I'm a damsel. Listen, I'm a damsel because I want you to treat me like a queen. I'm playing the damsel because I want you to feel compelled to protect me and to provide for me. And if I have to go out and fry the bacon up, get the bacon and fry it in the pan myself, that's what I have to do by circumstances in life. I have to go out there and do that. But if you're in my life, I'm a damsel. I'm not playing independent when I don't have to. What would you do that for? But if I need to, I will. That's all I'm saying. That's all this thing is about. That's all it's about. Used. You can't use me because I'm here with you for a reason. How can you use me when I'm only with you for a specific reason? And I'm clear about what that reason is. Women get mad when you tell the truth, but it's how we heal. Listen, we have to get over our emotions. We have to get over our emotions for everything. We're too emotional about stuff that we don't need to be emotional over. There's nothing else you should want to hear but the truth. The truth is the only thing that is valuable. Why would you want to hear lies? You know? Why would a lie be more valuable than the truth? But it is. It is. All right, you guys. I got paintings to ship off and things I have to do. Yeah, the truth will set you free. It sure will. So what I want for all of you to do, if you can, if it's not too much weight on your fingers to hit the like button, I'd appreciate you guys hitting the like button and sharing this video. Listen, send this video to all the young ladies that you know of, whether it be your daughters or your nieces or women in your young ladies in your community. Please share the video with them so they can take from it, glean from it some wisdom to help them navigate through whatever they're going through, whatever decisions they're about to make. Because as we speak now, somebody's going to make a decision. Some girl is going to make a decision that's going to cause her to get pregnant. Some girl is going to make a decision that's going to cause her to contract the disease. Some girl is going to make a decision that will cause her grades to slump in school. Some girl is going to make a decision that's going to create a pathology in her where she's going to be abused for the rest of her life. She's going to be looking for men who treat her just as fucked up as the men that she likes right now. Right now. Those scenarios are forming and taking shape as we speak. So share. Share it, please. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Thank you for the donation. I think it was Sierra. Whoever donated to me, thank you. I didn't get a chance to say thank you. And I appreciate all of you for coming on the live. And for those of you who haven't seen the R. Kelly documentary, it's interesting. It is interesting to say the least, but watch it with discernment and try not to get too emotional, because there's a lot of crying and boo-hooing going on there to get you emotional. Kind of cut through the haze of all of that and listen to what's being said and analyze, pick apart what makes sense from what's hype and what's for show, because anything on TV is entertainment. Okay? Anything on TV is edited for entertainment value. Understand that. Even this documentary. And let me know what you think in the comment section. All right. I love you all. Peace. Bye.